what to do, how to, what steps to follow. And it's very important. And there's resources out there for you to also educate your family.
Well, that's one of the things I want to pick up in this next section, because I want to talk about the whole family issue and even like divorce rates, as you said, that's an issue. So let's take a break. Okay. And as we go to the break, we'll put information up on your screen, and then we'll come back and wrap up really quickly and then have another guest join us. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back.
Watching Feedback at 5 with Theresa Wright.
We are back, and as you see on your screen, these are some more of the red flags of autism. It says if your child displays any of these things or has any of these symptoms, then you definitely want to go to your doctor and pediatrician and have them examined. And I want to ask you, this whole thing about how the family's impacted. What does it do for the relationship in the family?
I found that the relationship for me, my now ex-husband, I think it was basically the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
It was definitely, the autism seems to have a rate of 80% divorce rate at this time, and I think that being even lower than a secondary marriage, you don't have very good chances.
Right.
And it's because of a lot of the blame that people get into the different stages of denial. And one could be, as I am, I think, in acceptance. Another parent could be in the anger stage.
Right.
And so you need to be able to work together, but it does end up kind of breaking you apart because you're working with an education system, you're working with your pediatrician, you're working with maybe a psychiatrist or neurologist.
And I bet that in all of the middle of that, it feels like chaos sometimes, that you're living in chaos,
right,
because you never know how your child is going to be from one moment to the next.
Right.
And the stress of that.
Yeah.
Right.
It's very difficult to keep a marriage going because the focus and attention, I think naturally, and I think women in general tend to give more focus and attention to their children because they feel that is their job and their first job. They may have, I have had full-time jobs during the time when I'm doing my primary job, and I've been a single parent for 7 years, and now I'm remarried. And that's a great thing, but not very common.
Right.
Right.
Mostly a lot of
Which
single
is why
parents.
it's important that when you have a child on the spectrum, that you continue to have that relationship with your husband. Doctors are always telling you, whether you have a child on the spectrum or not, to always make time for your marriage.
Right.
And it just, keeps that cohesiveness. And my husband has actually been very supportive and very involved, and as well as my daughter. And so we do everything together, socially, whether it's going to ball games or going to barbecues or whatever it is. Nobody is left out.
Let's take another break, and then we're going to come back and have another person join me here. But I do want to continue the thing about support, because there are family members that don't support.
Right.
And before we go, I want to ask you if you will repeat that phrase that you said. What is it about mourning the child that you don't have?
Yes, I think that, and a doctor told me this when I found out about my son's disability, and it was that you need to mourn the child that you lost and accept the child that you have. Because many people have an expectation that their child's going to be a lawyer or a doctor, or they've already have a preconceived notion of that they're going to get excellent grades and they're going to be a performing athlete, and that it's going to be great. And it may be great, but it's going to be a different kind of great. And it's going to be a great that you worked really hard for, not something that was just handed to you.
Okay. All right, I'm going to leave it at that note. So we're going to take another short break. As we go, again, you'll find information on your screen. We'll take a short break and be right back.
Feedback at 5 is a community affairs program serving California's Central Coast. If your group or organization is interested in appearing on this program, or if you have questions or comments about the show, contact Public Affairs Manager Theresa Wright, KSBW8, 238 John Street, Salinas, California. Visit our website at ksbw.com.
Hi, Lydia and I are back, and we're joined by Lupe Lopez, and thank you very much for joining this discussion. And, you know, the statistics say it's one and how many?
One out of 110 children will be diagnosed with autism, and it's higher for boys. It's 1 out of 70 for boys.
And with that said, it's your daughter who has autism.
Yeah.
All right. So how old is she? And
she just turned 9.
She just turned 9. And tell us a little bit about your daughter and when you realized.
My daughter is very sweet, and she loves animals.
Yeah.
And she's a bookworm. She loves to read. And we didn't start suspecting until probably she was 4 or 5. More because she had no speech.
She had no speech.
She had no speech.
So she had one of those symptoms that we saw on that list.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now let me ask you and both of you can weigh in on this. What was your gut reaction when the doctor told you what it was?
For me, it was a relief, because as a mother, you know that there's something there. And at first, you're not sure what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I have actually a couple of sisters that work in the educational system. And one of them was the first one that said to me, you know, Lydia, have you ever thought about autism? And we actually got into an argument over the phone. And so, you know, and I knew in my heart, you know, you just know. As either you want to call it intuition, or I knew.
What about you, Luca?
I'm going to say that I was very relieved that there was a name to what she had, because now since there was something behind it, I can help her.
Okay.
Now it's, you know, where do I go from here?
Right.
So what is it like for you? Because the ladies that we've talked to earlier, you know, they've been dealing with this for a while. They have a support group in place. You don't necessarily outside support. So how is it working for you?
For me, it's been working okay so far.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm still learning. I'm still looking out in the community to help me and to help my child. And my family has come around. You know,
okay, so explain what that means, come around. Where were they in the beginning, and then where did you move to?
In the beginning, there was more denial. You know, that it's made up. She doesn't have anything. You know, it's just something new that's out there, and she's just being labeled. She'll grow out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I still get some of that, but now with more...
Do they make judgments? Do you find people make judgments towards you or towards your child?
Oh,
yes.
All the time.
Oh, yeah.
All the time.
What do you get?
Comments, rude comments sometimes.
By people in public, not along just
people in
the family?
public, pretty much. You know, they just don't have that understanding. It's just ignorance, really. You know, or it's just themselves being in denial that our children exist.
What happened to you? You were out in public somewhere.
I was out in public, and my daughter was having a meltdown. And
which consisted of?
Of crying and throwing herself on the ground. And I had an individual approach me and just say, this is how you deal with a child, you know, that misbehaves. And I just looked at him.
Like you're a bad parent.
Like I was a bad parent, you know.
Right.
I didn't know how to control my child. And, you know, people don't understand that she has, you know, there's something that she's dealing with.
So how difficult then is it for you? I mean, you're dealing with your child who has a disorder, and you're doing everything you can, I would imagine, to keep even, to keep balanced, and to have some balance. And then you get bombarded by judgments and outside criticism, or even within the family.
Right.
So how do you, as moms and as women, hang on and if you will, gird yourself up to not break down and to not crash, or do you, and then you move on? What do you do, Lupe?
Well, I look at my daughter, and I can't do that. Because if I do, then there's nobody else for her. And I have other children that also depend on me. So I look at it as a way, it's not as a negative or in any way. It's, okay, what do I do next? Okay, yes, this is a stumble. Let's get up, dust ourselves. Keep going. You know, I just keep going.
Right.
You know?
And that's exactly what my husband said to me. You know, okay, well, we'll deal with it. And you just do. You know, we have great friends who've accepted our son and have also gone as far as saying, you know, the Lord doesn't give you what you can't handle.
Right.
I've never really asked why. I never said, you know, why me, or if I did, it maybe lasted a day. And it's like Lupe says, you just kind of dust yourself off and you accept your situation and you just start on researching, educating yourself about autism, where to look for resources. But that also plays with the school districts, the pediatricians. You know, they can help. They will help you. Once your child is diagnosed, they will point a way for you.
Let's put up the information about the walk, because we probably have less than a minute, so I want to be able to tell folks about the walk. So this is a fundraiser walk that's coming up, Walk Now for Autism Speaks, 10:30, Saturday, May 21st, Kelly Park in San Jose. There's the phone number, there's the email address if you want to learn any more about it. This is a way to raise funds to support this this organization. It's a way to get information. It's the way, resources, you name it.
Right.
And then there are also 2 more websites that we're going to put up. The